piss off everybody that they meet, and you can't go through life like that, and you're not going to be an effective police officer if you can't gain voluntary compliance. You know, there's going to be some people that no matter how hard you try, you're not going to be able to gain voluntary compliance, but you can't have everybody that you're dealing with be that way, you know, and I've met some people that they're not people persons, you know, they're a-holes, and you can't go through life like that.
Are skills such as report writing important?
Yes, I would argue report writing even is mandatory. You have to be able to explain what you're doing. You know, obviously a report, it's very important to get the elements of a crime if you want the DA to file the charges. So for instance, in domestic violence, I got to be able to lay out, hey, this is the visible injury that I saw, this is the boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, or why. You've got to be able to lay all the critical components out. But it's more than that. It's the only place where you can tell your story. It can't just be a black and white, you know, just the facts, ma'am, like Jack Webb back in the old days. You know, if you use force, for instance, you need to be able to justify why you use that force. I worked internal affairs for a number of years, and that was one of the biggest problems our officers had. You know, when you interviewed them, they could, oh yeah, no, I had to use my elbow, or I had to do a wrist lock because the suspect was doing this or whatever. But the report didn't have all that information. And so, especially in today's world with video cameras, here I've got a camera showing what happened, but if the officer can't write a report to explain why it happened, the officer often can find themselves in trouble. Or you know, it could be the difference between the officer getting in trouble and the suspect getting in trouble. And so you've got to be able to write a good, thorough report that is understandable as well. You know, if you write in words that are so big college words, you're not going to be able to get the reader to grasp it. And so report writing is absolutely mission critical for any officer, anybody, any first responder. Obviously the fire department, they don't write as much reports, but they still do write a report about why they used this medicine or why they had to do this. It's critical.
Based on your experience, what level of education do you think police applicants should be required to possess?
Required, high school is fine. The college helps out dramatically for you've learned more report writing. You know, there aren't many college graduates that don't understand basic grammar, that don't understand how to write a report. I mean, obviously college is good because you're gonna know how to put together a report more effectively than most high school GED type of graduates. But at the end of the day, the bulk of law enforcement really comes down to personality, your ability to talk with people, your common sense, and you no matter how much college gives somebody, common sense is not something you can teach them. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people can learn it, some people can improve it. And so I think high school's fine. College is going to be better in most cases, but you know, it's at the end of the day, high school is probably just fine.
While in the department, was there anything looking back that you would have changed if you had the chance to?
Obviously, there are some things I've said that I wish I hadn't have said. You know, there were people above me that I rubbed the wrong way sometimes, especially in at our department. For a while, I was the number three in the department, and there were some people that I'm a person that will tell the truth, you know, even whether they want to hear it or not. And overall, I know that hindered my ability to promote higher than where I landed. But at the end of the day, there's not a lot that I would have changed.
Why did you choose this department, Hemet Police Department?
In all seriousness, at the time, like I said, I got hired in '97. Everybody was on a hiring freeze back then. I applied with every department that was hiring, except for sheriff's departments that didn't want to work in a jail. So if there was a police department, I grew up in Orange County. I went to the academy in Orange County. Never even heard of it. In fact, ironically, the owner of this company, his dad got sick, and that created the position that I filled. But they were the first department that said, "Hey, we'll hire you." And I made a commitment at the time. I said, "Hey, if you hire me, I'll work here until I retire," and that's what I did.
So, learning from your experience as a police officer, would there be anything that you would pass down to newer officers? Any advice you would give to new recruits?
Yes, lots of it. The two biggest things are, one, your mentality. You cannot let the job kill you. There's so many things you cannot control. You cannot control if this guy goes to jail, no matter how bad this guy is. You can't control that guy going to jail. You can't control a victim pressing charges. There's too many things outside your control, and if you let it wear away at you, it's going to destroy you. You're not going to have a successful career if you let everything get to you. I've seen a lot of tremendously bad things, and they all take a little bit of a toll on you, and you can't let it wipe you out. That you won't be successful, you won't make it to the end. The other thing is, and it's quite simple, but it's amazing to me the lengths that a lot of officers, especially new officers, will go to avoid writing a report. Write the report. When in doubt, and this isn't my phrase, but one of my mentors. When in doubt, write it out. You cannot go wrong writing a report. The fresher you can get it in your mind, it's gonna save you going down the road. Because often what happens is somebody will come and sue you 3 years from now, and you may not remember what happened back then. Or even worse, you kissed it off, you didn't write anything, and now you're getting sued 3 years down the road. And so if there's any doubt, write it out and write the report, do a good job, and just get it done. I've seen officers spend 100 times more, or a massive amount more time trying to get out of writing a report than to just write the report and be done with it. Not only is it going to save your bacon, but the customer service is tremendous. You got to figure most people, the only time they talk to a law enforcement officer is when something bad has happened. And imagine the difference when somebody breaks into your car and they take your jack. Okay, no big deal. We're talking $20, whatever. But you're a victim. You feel horrible. You feel violated. And now some cop comes out here and downplays it, kisses it off. Hey, no, this is no big deal. They're not going to do anything. Nobody's going to go to jail. And you leave that experience as the victim feeling even further victimized because nobody cared. If that officer paid attention, hey, oh man, I'm sorry this happened. Let me write a report. Take the officer 10 minutes to write this report. And now you feel, it still sucks. It doesn't make you feel a lot better, but at least somebody listened to you and you feel like you got better customer service. So those would be the two biggest things, to write it out. And I don't even remember where I went with the first one, but those are it.
And then lastly, was there any advice that you were given while being a police officer that really stuck with you throughout the years?
Well, obviously